McDuff in the morning talking about the Wounded Warrior Project, near and dear to my heart, and I hope yours. Jim Madison of the Bullet Stop Gun Shop coming in talking about his involvement in the Wounded Warrior Project. You're listening for that. Then the governor, Pat Quinn, on the radio after 7:30. All part of the McDuff Show on 100.5 NTA FM.
2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
First one we thought was an accident. When we heard there was a second one, we definitely thought it was terrorism.
The entire top of the building just collapsed. You can see the plume of smoke is coming in our direction.
I saw it blow and then ran like hell. Thank God. Chaos. There's chaos out here, really is.
There are other places in the world where this is commonplace. And for us, it's a first.
Now this nation has turned upside down.
Harry got up, dressed all in black, went down to the station.
Who can forget that from 2001? Don Henley there. We won't play the whole thing, but I wanted to introduce our special guest, Jim Madison, who's keeping this alive with many others throughout America with the Wounded Warrior Project, so lest we forget. I mean, my folks said to never forget Pearl Harbor. I say never forget what happened to this country in 2001, and I think Jim Madison of the Bullet Stop Gun Shop would agree. Jim, good morning.
Good morning, Doug.
Nice to have you back. And that was the day it all began, and this many years later. We'll get to the Pinto Stampede in a moment, but first, what gave you the impetus to get involved in the Wounded Warrior Project, and explain to our listeners what the Wounded Warrior Project is and does?
Look, the Wounded Warrior Project picks up really where the government lets off. The government's a big help, but these guys, they come home and they're injured. You know, they need work. And a lot of them want to work, too. And they need housing. And there's so much that the Wounded Warrior Project does. And, you know, we have more Wounded Warriors now than we had during World War II in Korea. And I'll tell you why. We got better equipment. These guys have got armored vehicles and armored vests, and they've got the best equipment man can make nowadays. So these guys are coming home injured, not dead, injured. You know, so we got to help these guys, you know. And the Wounded Warrior Project was founded on September 11th, 2001 by a group of veterans that thought, geez, you know, we got to do something more, you know. So I got involved years ago and was just making donations, and then I got with this group of car guys, and we thought, well, let's drive our old cars and make some money for Wounded Warriors.
It's a fantastic program. We mentioned wounded. They're wounded in a lot of ways, and sometimes in a mental way. I remember when guys came back from Nam, they were always talking about Agent Orange, and now one of the big things that warriors, or maybe you can't see it, but that post-traumatic stress disorder is a big part of what happens to people out of this war.
Yeah, and the therapy, you know, they don't get all the therapy they need, and they need funding to get that therapy, you know.
And we're going to be doing some tangible things, and I'll be a part of it Saturday. And let's tell people about the Wounded Warrior Project. The thing you're doing this Saturday, I'll be out there from 10 to 1 broadcasting at your Harlem Road location. But the Pinto Stampede is all connected with this, so let's tell people how they can all help out.
All right, well, the Bullet Stop is going to host a Wounded Warrior fundraiser Saturday and Sunday, and I am part of a group called the Pinto Stampede. The Pinto Stampede is just what it sounds. I have a Ford Pinto, and I have to admit it. Isn't that crazy, Doug? Here's the deal.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I tell you what, in 1979, my dad bought a Ford Pinto station wagon with a company car for the Madison gun shop. And when I worked for my dad, I got to drive this little red wagon back and forth to Chicago hauling guns and ammo. And everybody picked on that car and picked on the fact that I'm actually hauling ammo and guns and gunpowder in a car that was, you know, everybody said exploded when you hit, you know, when you were rear-ended. Me and that car were picked on for years and years, and you know, we've been through thick and thin, that little car, me, 30 years of driving it, and kind of like our veterans, through thick and thin, you know. And so I got together with this group of boys that all own these Pintos. Last year was the 40th year for the Ford Pinto, so we thought we'd have a celebration of the Ford Pinto and cruise out to the All Ford show in Pennsylvania. But we wanted to do it for something more than just, you know, driving the car. So we picked the Wounded Warrior Project as an organization to put the money into. And last year we raised $13,000, me and our group, just cruising out there and having a good time with our little cars.
And we're going to have in this very half hour a friend of yours from back east will be on talking about this.
Yes.
The Pinto Stampede is a great Wounded Warrior Project, and you are, I assume there are many that are in our listening area help out Wounded Warriors in a lot of ways. But yours isn't exactly called a chapter, but you are one of the volunteers in this area that makes it happen.
Yep. Yep, we've got guys all over America doing this. Last year we had represented 18 states and Canada. When we got to Pennsylvania, we had over 60 Pintos together. This year we're not going to get as many because our West Coast guys just won't make that trip all the way to the East Coast every single year. But they made the push last year, and it was a great time. We're all going to meet in Southern Virginia here on Wednesday morning, I believe. And I hit the road Tuesday, and I'm excited. I really am. I did it last year, but it's all about the fundraiser before I hit the road, Doug.
And our listeners can help out. That's what we want people to be aware of. And one tangible way is just show up Saturday at our live broadcast, and you'll be doing it all day there.
Yep, all day.
It'll be food. There's going to be a free lunch for you, free raffles, a 50-50 raffle, free prizes, free shooting, gun and ammo deals, a silent auction. Man, you got a lot of people to thank for those auction items.
Yeah, great. It's a great deal. People are just showing up and just giving me, a lot of people have a brand new something they got as a gift, and they didn't use it, and they just bring it in and give it to me, and I'll put it up for a silent auction. Whatever it brings, 100% of the money goes to Wounded Warriors, so I don't care. We had a guy come in with a brand new leather coat the other day that his wife bought him, and it just didn't fit. Brand new, got the tags on it. Great donation. If it brings $20, that's $20 the Wounded Warriors got, So
if you have a question about Wounded Warriors Project, Jim Madison here. We've got Norm on the hotline right now. I'll let you do the introduction.
Well, good morning, Norm. How are you?
Hey, Jim. How you doing?
All right, Norm. Norm, I don't even know. What exact town do you live in over there?
Well, I actually have a house out in Pennsylvania, but I work in New York City all week.
I see. Okay, Norm, I'll let you have some airtime here. Tell us all about it, Norm.
Well, the Pinto Stampede last year was our first year. It was a pretty epic year. We had a really good time when we finally got to Carlisle. We had a couple of the Wounded Warriors come down, tell their stories, just working with this cause has just been a wonderful thing, and trying to help these guys out. Like I heard you guys were talking about the post-traumatic stress and all of that. And those are the things that aren't seen. A lot of guys come back and they're looking like there's nothing wrong with them, but too many are leaving us due to depression and things like that, and just letting people know that we care about them is pretty much one of the biggest things that we can do.
And Norm and Jim, hold on. We're going to have a quick newscast, and we'll be back with more about the Wounded Warrior Project. McDuff on 100.5 NTA FM.
100.5 NTA FM. It's the stuff people are talking about. 100.5 NTA FM.
100.5 NTA FM. McDuff back talking this half hour about the Wounded Warrior Project. Back with Jim Madison and friend Norm in just a moment. 7:21 on the McDuff Show, and we've got by phone from back east, we've got Norm on the hotline and Jim Madison here.
All right, Norm.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Okay.
Good to be back. One of the things I'd like to talk about is, aside from raising money, because the Wounded Warrior Project is a really good organization for helping these guys out and getting them trained and all of that, is they have a Warriors to Work program that anyone who's in human resources or runs a company, you're not going to find a better group of people when it comes to taking orders that are polite, and we all know how the military is about keeping things clean. So, go out and find these guys, get them back into the workforce, and help them out, especially those that have some disabilities, because that's probably some of the best medicine that we could give them, along with trying to help them get the training and get the prosthetics and things and other things that the Wounded Warrior Project helps with.
I think we should also point out that the Warriors are all people that volunteered to serve their country. These people are well educated, well trained, and they need our help. And as much as the government does, there's a lot that isn't done, and that's why the Wounded Warriors was formed back in September of 2001. We should not forget that. The Wounded Warriors, who incurred the service-connected injuries or illnesses on or after September 11th, 2001. Those are the people that we're trying to help here. And with this proud supporter event, and Jim Madison here is a proud supporter, this event Saturday is one way. It all connects to the Pinto Stampede, which we'll talk about. But right now, Jim, this Saturday is very important to all of us. I'll be there. Tell us about what's going to happen Saturday.
Saturday, there's going to be quite a bit going on. Saturday's got, we've got raffles. We've got silent auction items. There's going to be a free gun range shoot. If you want to come try out a gun, make a little Wounded Warrior donation. I'm going to provide the gun and the ammo. So you can go right out to the range and shoot for free. I've got a gun raffle. I donated a $500 Henry Golden Boy 22 rifle. I'm selling chances for $10 a piece, 3 for $20. So you just come, support the Wounded Warriors by buying a raffle ticket. If you're not a gun person, stop by a raffle ticket. If you win the gun, I'll pay you the cash. You don't have to have the gun. We'll give you the money instead of the gun. So there's quite a bit going on with food and the radio and Doug.
Yeah, I'll be there from 10 to 1. There'll be a free lunch, free raffles, 50-50 raffle. And you've got some people you want to thank, too.
Yeah, I got a list here I want to thank. Anderson Rock River Ford last year gave us $1,000. That's wonderful. Milsna Heating and Cooling, B&C's Transmissions. The Maverick Media Group here donated some time. Pine Tree Pistol Club, Northern Illinois Rifle and Pistol, Papa Chip's Computers in Lowe's Park, and the National Rifle Association walked in the door yesterday with about, $200 worth of free goods so I can hand out to my veterans. And I'll tell you what I want tomorrow is veterans. Any veterans showing up are going to get a free gift, or Wounded Warriors. I've got free gifts set aside, and those gifts were donated by the National Rifle Association. So we've got them set aside.
And we should point out something, and for Norm listening on the East Coast, this is everything that is raised this Saturday, 100% goes to the program, and not all charitable organizations can make that kind of a statement.
Right. I'm going to make this journey about 3,000 miles. I'm taking all the gas and hotel monies out of my own pocket. People that are sponsoring my car, 100% of the money is going. My donation is what I'm doing.
Now, you told me off the air something I thought was pretty cool. If somebody out there in Radio Land today, some generous person or company donates $1,000, what are you going to do for them?
Well, I tell you what, Ground Zero, New York, is not on my list of things to do when I get to the East Coast. But if somebody will give me $1,000 in one single donation, I will drive to Ground Zero for them, for their company, for their family, whatever. But I need one check with $1,000 on it, and I'll make that trip exclusively for them. And that'll add about 1,000 miles to my trip, and it'll be for a good cause.
Be well worth it. Norm, how long have you been involved in the Wounded Warrior Project?
This just over 2 years now. Pretty much when I started the Pinto Stampede, we got together and discussed this and doing a charity event, and this one is one that all the Pinto people really rallied behind. We all felt it was the right thing to do, and it just keeps growing. The Pinto community is not like a local car club where you can get 100 Mustang guys together at the Stop and Shop. They're few and far between, but it's pretty interesting how it's spread across the entire community of Pinto people, where we're going to the Jefferson 500, which is a race that's going to feature 10, old Pinto race cars in the IMSA class, and they chose to turn their event into the Wounded Warrior Project fundraiser. So everybody's kind of getting behind it, and it's kind of become the Pinto thing.
Well, as a matter of fact, Jim, here you own 5 Pintos, don't you?
Got 5 Pintos, buddy, and
a lot of times people didn't used to brag about that.
Yeah.
But you're glad to have.
Yeah.
And you're driving a 79
red wagon that my dad bought logged a lot of miles on the old girl, but she's my baby.
Well, the main thing is you're all doing this, whether it be Norm or Jim or anybody listening that's involved in this, you're all doing it for a great cause. You love your Pintos and you love your club, but the Wounded Warriors Project is the primary cause for this whole event.
And I kind of like the fact that I can tie my store into it. Wounded Warriors, guns, ammo, the Second Amendment, the National Rifle Association. I look at us as kind of a team, and I'm just glad to be part of it.
Absolutely. The Wounded Warrior Project is a year-round thing, but this big event, and you folks in Rockford in this area can help out by showing up at the Bullet Stop Gun Shop this Saturday, all day. If you want to show up when I'm there, when there's the free food and the fun and games, that's 10 to 1, but the deal goes on from 10 to 5, right?
Right, and all day Sunday, all day, 10 to 2. And also, if you can't get out, go to the website. They got a really nice website, pintostampede.com. PintoStampede.com will show you the people that are going, the stories, pictures of the cars, our route. It's a very nice website. You can certainly go to the website. You can donate through the website even.
Norm and Jim, if either one of you I'm sure that besides doing a great thing and having organizations like this, but the personal stories you guys, Norm, have you got any story about meeting a wounded warrior and how this has impacted their lives?
Well, there's a couple that we had at Carlisle last year, and one of them is this guy named Aaron. You know, he got hit with a roadside bomb and was in a coma for about a month, and it took him about a year to learn how to walk again. You know, he's come a long way. You look at him now, he just looks like a cowboy that's been thrown. You know, he's got a little bit of a limp. And you wouldn't think anything of it walking down the street if you ran into this guy. But his story is when he woke up, you know, one of his buddies was by his side in the hospital. And apparently during the entire time in Iraq, he carried an American flag under his flak jacket. Well, he gave that flag to his friend, and this is in Tikrit. His buddy climbed a famous statue of Saddam and wiped his face with that flag. And I think we all remember that.
Yeah, that's it.
He told me, said, we caught so much heck for that. And I told him, I says, yeah, but you got to understand what that did back home to the patriotic Americans.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know,
Jim?
We were all honoring you for that, because that was a moment for us.
Great story, Norm.
The politically correct moment, but it was a moment.
Absolutely.
You know, I see the other day where a wounded warrior, you know, had no housing. I just couldn't believe there was no housing for this guy, you know, and he was floating from place to place. And then I see, for like Habitat for Humanity, you know, a group got together and put some money up, and they built him a house. They bought a lot, and they built him a house, and they put it all together and awarded him a home, you know. And
people helping people is what it's all about.
A handicap accessible home given to him, just absolutely wonderful, all off of the money of Wounded Warriors.
Norm, all the best. God bless. Thanks for being on the show. Jim,
thank you, Norm.
We'll see you Saturday, Jim.
Saturday, I'll be there, buddy. PintoStampede.com.
There you go, PintoStampede.com. Thanks, Norm.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. News coming up next.